Today, we have some great news on a platform that is been developed, and we have Tearney. Tearney, everybody I think probably knows Tearney. She's famous for just the work that she and Hannah do in their Discover extension, and then also onboarding and all the different employee development, professional development activities that she does. So, Tearney, thank you for being with us. I'm going to turn it over to you, and I look forward to hearing about AgriLife Aspire.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for allowing us to come. And it won't just be me talking today. I have a wonderful group of colleagues who are excited to talk to you about how they are going to utilize the platform, and encouraging you to as well. And then we also have Bailey Teeter, who's from AgriLife IT, who's also going to give us kind of a show tour of this platform. So we're really excited about it. And right in line with the mission of these Tech Tuesday series is that the heart of this is that we care about your development. We care about investing in your growth, in your career, in your success, and equipping you with the opportunities to develop and grow as an individual. And so right in line with that, this is an AgriLife as a whole initiative, but we're talking to Extension right now, and we're going to be focused in on how this can apply to Extension. And so I'm really excited. This is something right from the beginning I wanted to see was a platform for Extension to be able to take all of the trainings that we do in so many different platforms and methods of that training, and be able to have it together to both track it, to be able to compile it, to make it easy and user-friendly for both employees and the supervisors, and then to be able to really take that and be able to showcase what all you have done and invested in that. And really my end goal is to create a vision of an organization that very much values and invests in learning and growing as a unit together. And so some of these things that I want you to be able to understand that we're really seeking to do is that through this platform, we're hoping to increase our recruitment. We know employees care about the investment. Today, it's more than just job satisfaction. It's about their development as an employee. And so we want to showcase that outwardly, is to really make us an organization that is showing not only our employees, but the outside world that we care about investing in our employees and their development. We hope that this also makes you as an individual want to stay with us and know that we are caring about you and your growth, and helping you to become more engaged. We know that motivation also comes from that learning and growing, feeling like you're acquiring new skills, you're being able to take on new challenges and increase your success, and then really create that culture of spurring each other on and development and sharing in these ways. And part of that culture is even these Tech Tuesdays, that willingness to engage and adopt new technologies and become proficient at it. So really, what is AgriLife Aspire? So a lot of times people want to describe it as what it's not. You know, we hear a lot of, it's not train track, it's not about compliance and risk mitigation and all of those things. But I want to really talk today about what it is. And for us, it's really, our vision is that this is going to be a place you go to learn and grow. And for us, it's really about providing opportunities for you, both in your personal development, your competencies, your onboarding, your orientation, your development as an individual throughout your career. This is where we want you to be able to go and continue to grow. So this is not just for new employees. This is not just a place to make sure you do your annual, compliance check in those ways. This is really about you and your growth and giving you the opportunity to kind of take control of that. So some little things that we want to make sure you guys understand is that this will be also a place where you'll get a more of a wide, broader orientation to AgriLife and understanding really how you fit into that broader global mission and impact. You'll also have onboarding specifically for Extension that's going to be housed in here. And then even later on, we're going to be developing specific unit onboarding and orientation resources that really help us to keep that culture, to make sure that's a really positive place for y'all as well. And then finally, we hope that we are able to also offer more of the individual technical training, right? Also really looking at future development, because in the end, we want this to really be this full, broad spectrum of all of the things that you might want as a professional to grow. So not just equipping you right at the beginning, but all the way through to where you're developing as a whole in those ways. And so we're really excited about this. We are hopeful that it is a place that you feel like you can also go to learn and to grow in those ways. And we are going to turn it over to Bailey, who's going to talk through a little bit more of the specifics. So we're actually going to get you into the platform. She's going to be sharing her screen so that y'all can see it. I gave y'all a link so that y'all can log in and kind of play with it as she's talking through. And we have a couple other presenters who are also going to join us today. But Bailey, thank you so much for joining us. Again, she works with AgriLife IT, and she has been a key contributor and really innovator in designing this platform to work for our audiences. And so we're really excited about having you join us and walk us through. Thanks, Bailey.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, so actually first thing before I get started, how to get to it. I'm gonna go put a little sway here in the chat there. So to get to it, you can actually get to it from the header of the AgriLife intranet. You'll see it up here as AgriLife Aspire. If you need the link, I believe Tearney has put it in there in the chat a couple of times. To log in, if you're not already logged in, you'll use your AgNet ID. So your first name dot last name at agnet.tamu.edu, and the same password that you will use for any of your Office 365 applications. Most of y'all use that same password to log into your work computers. The link I put in the chat is a little sway that'll help you get into the AgriLife intranet. That'll get you into Aspire as well, because they're all built on the same platform. They're all built on SharePoint. Okay. But that's a helpful little guide if you're ever unsure how to get into the AgriLife intranet. Or if you have any weird, like if you get like a permission denied or permission required message, we've got screenshots of those in that guide. Okay. Everyone in AgriLife who has an AgNet ID has access, and it's already automatic. As soon as you are added into AgriLife People, as soon as you are onboarded and you get that AgNet ID, you've got access to Aspire. So day one, you can go in here and rock and roll. Okay. Couple of things I do want to point out. Whenever we have something called a bite-sized learning or an in-person training, you'll see that here on the homepage. We do have one coming up that's going to be really, really, really in-depth. It's about 30 minutes long in a bite-sized learning, November 10th. Okay, so if you want to go in and register for that, you can, and I'll put the link in the chat in a little bit later if you want to learn a little bit more. Okay, but we're going to roll into course catalog. Like I said, this is built on SharePoint. Okay, so a lot of the framework, a lot of the look, it's going to be very similar to those other SharePoint sites that AgriLife is utilizing. Your extension, that main intranet page is admin services, educational development, AITs. They're all built using the same setup. Okay. So your course catalog right now, this is pretty much what you'll see. We are kind of in the process of adding more courses. One of the really cool things about this platform is that we can actually directly import LinkedIn Learning courses. I know that Admin Services has a lot of courses that they recommend that are housed in LinkedIn Learning. You don't have to go outside. Like Tearney said, all of your training, all one place. Okay. So, you know, you've got a bunch of Microsoft ones in here. I highly recommend where's the SharePoint quick tutorials? This one down here is a great one. If you have any questions or you just want a kind of foundation of SharePoint, highly recommend checking that one out. Okay. And we'll go into like the course pages here in just a second, but I did want to cover categories, training type, and skills, because I know that we were asked about skills earlier today. Categories, you'll see those increase as we start to add more courses. Training type, your two main types are going to be your e-learning and your instructor-led. E-learning is pretty much anything that is self-taught. Okay, so anything that you could go in here and, like, I'll actually go pull up the SharePoint one here. Anything that you can take on your own. There we go. That doesn't have like a set class date or time. That's what those e-learning courses are going to be. Okay. And this right here is actually like a course page. So whenever you go to a course page, you're going to see course description, title. You're going to see all kinds of different information, categories, what type it is. If you have a course admin, meaning somebody that you can reach out directly to, you can see those kind of different things. You can see your actual progress on a course page. Pretty much anything that you would need to know about the course. Okay. You can rate them, which I highly encourage as y'all go through and do courses. I would highly encourage rating those courses. That's going to let course instructors know, you know, this worked out really well for extension specifically. This worked out really well for, or this did not work out well. That feedback is really important. Okay. And skills, I know we got asked about this earlier. The skills that's like a coming soon feature. We just have the one right now, but we will be adding more as time goes on. I believe that Kat has already started that process, but I'll kind of explain skills a little bit in just a little bit. But did want to address it since y'all can all see that that one skill right there. Okay. If you want to see any details on a course that you are not currently enrolled in or that you have not favorited, this is where you'll come. You'll come to course catalog. Okay. But the next thing I'm going to go to is probably what y'all will spend the most time in, which is the My Training dashboard. This is going to show courses that you are enrolled in or that you have favorited or have been assigned to you. Okay. And you have a couple of different ways of kind of changing the view and kind of customizing what you see here. All right, you've got this personal preferences down here. And I'll also talk about teams here in a second as well. If you want to turn on notifications in Teams, you can do that. The leaderboard is super cool. It's going to show you pretty much the stats, the high ranking individuals in AgriLife. You can go through and sort it based on certain time periods. I think the default is overall, but it's going to show you all kinds of things. Our boss tries to stay up here in the top. Right now, the top folks are, that looks like IT, digital education, for the most part. So, you know, if you want extension, I see Ms. Linda's up in here. If you want extension to start coming up on the leaderboard, you're going to need to take those courses, okay? But yeah, for the most part, this is all IT. If you
they had an unfair head start on everything, so don't
We
worry.
did.
We're just getting started. We're coming for you, Bailey. So don't worry about that.
That's all right. I'm good with a little healthy competition. We did, yeah. So we started out testing LMS 365 AgriLife Aspire on IT. Man, if there's a unit that can break a software or an application, it's going to be us. So we definitely wanted to make sure that we put it through the ringer before we even shared it with anybody else in AgriLife. Okay. I'll go back here. Okay. So this right here, this overview is going to look a little bit different if you're a supervisor or a line manager. and I'll point out line managers here in a second. But if you have any direct reports, you're going to be able to see their training and what they're enrolled in. You're going to be able to do a couple of different things. For me, it's going to look a little bit weird because my only direct report is my .admin account. But training status is kind of what I wanted to point out. This is going to give you some personalized stats. So I sadly am not doing super great with my training. I've only done 10 out of the 17. All right. But it'll show you if you've got active certificates, if you've got anything that's outstanding, if you have any training that you have not completed that had a due date on it, you'll be able to see it in here as well. And then you can roll down in here and see basically detailed versions of these up here. Okay. Now I don't have any assessments, and that is also something that is going to be coming soon. I believe we're working on that one. So kind of keep an eye out on some of these things. We have tried to take the platform and gear it towards AgriLife and AgriLife's employees and make it truly work for our organization. Okay. But if you go to training, this is where you're going to see things that you are enrolled in or that you have favorited. Okay, so if I can go in here and go back to planned or favorited. Okay, and it's going to give you basically your progress if you've started it, if you haven't started it, couple of different things. And you'll see a similar view on here that you did on the course catalog, where it'll show you if it's e-learning and things like that. Okay. You do have a couple of different ways you can change this view. So like if you don't like this particular view, you can actually see this one, which I think is a little bit easier. It's more like a list presentation than the cards. If you need to go and check the status on any certificates, or if you just need a better way of viewing some of these, the certificates and skills page is going to be really, really helpful. Okay. If you need to see if any certificate is about to expire, maybe you're going to have an annual course that you're going to have to take annually. This will be a really good way to see when it's coming up. Transcript. So you can actually get a transcript of any of your trainings, and actually a large. You can download pretty much all of your training as a PDF if you need that. I love seeing all of y'all like bookmarking it. I've got the teams, like the chat over on the other side, and I love like seeing all the comments and seeing everybody like bookmarking it and actually going through and actually like pinning it basically. It's just really exciting to see. All right, and we jump back to leaderboard. I'm kind of hoping in the next couple of weeks that we'll see a lot more extension on here. So a line manager is something that IT sets up, okay? It's something that's on the back end. It's different from a supervisor, all right? The line manager is something that we set up in the back end. You will be able to view the training of anybody that falls in your line. You'll be able to do transcript training. You'll be able to enroll anybody that's in your line in specific training. You will be able to grant and revoke the skills. You'll be able to download certificates for any of them if you need to. And you're also going to have some authority and control over their assessments when we start going through those. Okay. But if we jump down to supervisor, that is pretty much going to be, I think, what we're going to use to kind of help with something that IT we didn't actually know was going to be a necessity for training. It sounds like we have a couple of different groups that manage training for extension, and we weren't aware of that. So that's something that we're also working on, kind of creating a way for those different groups to manage training for extension. It sounds like we're going to use that supervisor role to kind of help with those. But I did want to include those links so y'all can kind of check out some more in-depth training than what I can provide in the next, 10 minutes. But I put those in the chat, so you're more than welcome to go in there and take a look at those. And I'm going to try to rush through these. We've also got a site guide on here. This is going to help you explore this page, or excuse me, the site. So if you have any questions about any of the pages on the Aspire site, you can go in here. They've got really cool screenshots on here. They kind of do a little bit kind of what I'm doing right now. So if you're more of a text person, you like to read rather than listen to me kind of drone on, you can go in here and read and see all these different screenshots. And they're going to actually, go into a much more in-depth kind of definition of what each of these features is. The mobile app is very, very cool. The guide on this is really awesome. I worked really hard on this. The app itself is called LMS 365. You'll be able to download it for your iPads, your iPhones, your Samsung Galaxy, pretty much all of your mobile devices. You can get the app. And the login steps are the exact same. So first name dot last name at agnet.tamu.edu. Okay. You will be presented with the authenticator login if you've got that set up. But it's got a very similar feel to it as the site. Okay, so you've got your training, your dashboard, notifications, your catalog, all those different pieces. Okay. And then again, if we have any either in-person or instructor-led trainings, Jill Houston is doing the bite-sized learnings. As we start to create more of those instructor-led trainings, you'll see those in the upcoming training events, okay? But right now, I think we just have the bite-sized learning, and they're about 30 minutes long, and then she leaves, they're about like 45 minutes total. Jill does about 30 minutes of instruction, and then a 15-minute window at the end for answering questions, and any additional demos and anything that's, comes up in the trainings. Okay, but again, November 10th, that's a Friday at noon. So if y'all are looking for something to do on your lunch break on a Friday, definitely go and register for that. Aspire is linked up to Teams, so you can do pretty much everything that you do in this on SharePoint here, you can do within Teams. So that is something that we looked at that is really, really, really cool and unique to LMS 365, the platform that Aspire is built on. And Tearney said 155. So do we have any questions from like the tech side of it?
I think if we have any questions, we're going to have them put it in the chat, Bailey, and if you'd be able to answer those in the chat so that way we can get to our next ones. But thank you, Bailey, for walking us through that part. And I have seen a lot of people responding in. We're actually going to have Laura Holt join us and share with us. Laura is our training manager for FNEP. And so she's going to share kind of how she is going to be utilizing this, and also how she can envision other employees utilizing this. And so I'm going to turn it over to Laura for a second, and I'll be walking through the screen. Laura, can you see that okay?
Yes.
Awesome. And Laura is one of those training managers that Bailey was talking about, who's asking, hey, how do I assign everything to it? And so we're really excited. And I do want to also give y'all the understanding that over this fall is really our launch of getting people initially used to the platform. And then all of next year, we're going to be really building a lot of the courses that are going to come in there. And so we just want to make sure people are familiar with the platform. We want you to dive in there and get experience, but there is much, much more coming. And we're really excited about where it will go. So Laura, thank you for joining us today, and I'll let you kind of walk them through.
Thanks, Tearney. So I don't know that there's a whole lot in here that I really need to walk you through so much as really just kind of to hype this up. Because like Tearney said, I have this kind of big vision for this. I was really excited when they first showed it to me and asked me kind of what my thoughts were. Like she said, I'm the training manager for FNEP. So I assign and create trainings and content for 60 plus AgriLife employees, extension employees. And so having this kind of all-in-one platform sounded really great to me. I don't know how many of y'all are familiar with things like I'm trying to think, like Class Dojo and Google Classroom and all these things that your kids are probably using and have been using since COVID, when we did all that great homeschooling as working parents. But if you are, you kind of know how clunky and not user-friendly some of those systems can be. And so FNEP has been using Google Classroom since 2020 when we went on that 2 weeks to flatten the curve thing. And it's not been the best. It's definitely helped kind of bring everything in one place. But when I saw Aspire come out, I thought, okay, this is going to save my life. Because this is going to make what I do as a training manager a lot more manageable. But what I'm really excited about is this dashboard and then that transcript tab for our staff and for myself, even because I have professional development that I have to do too. And what I loved about this was I use LinkedIn Learning, but I have to go through and vet those and kind of find out if they're right. And then a lot of times I have to create stuff to go with them to make them more personal for our staff. And I don't always know what categories to search because LinkedIn Learning is for the whole world, not just for people in education and people in extension. And so I love that these are on here and they're getting feedback, and I'll know when I go to assign them if they're going to work for us or not, kind of right off the bat. But I really love that this transcript is here, because then everybody can go back and look and see what they've done. And they'll have a one-stop shop for where to pull things from. I'm constantly asking my staff, hey, where are your food handlers cards? I need a copy of that. But in here, I can pull them, or they can pull them, or their direct supervisor can pull them. And we'll kind of all have that access to be like, okay, we know that we've achieved what we needed to achieve and everything is here. FNEP provides training for our FNEP staff, but we also know that our FNEP staff are required to do things for their counties or for their county directors or for their FNEP supervisors, or any of those things. And those will all kind of go into this one place where we can all kind of be on the same page, and maybe we're not duplicating so much work for our employees. And as an employee, that makes me really happy because I want to be able to do what I need to do and get it sent out and have it in a place where I know I can find it, and where my supervisor can find it. And I'm not constantly having to dig through TrainTrack or AgriLife Learn or any of these other places where I go to my Google Classroom, where I go to look for things that I've had to do. And so I just really kind of see this as eventually being this place where our employees or ourselves as employees can go to kind of have more of a one-stop place where we're not kind of having to log into 6 different platforms in a day to get things done. And I love the leaderboard. I think it's amazing. I hope that's inspirational for people. But I also, I don't know. I'm really excited to see it. I'm really excited to start using it as a trainer, but I'm also really excited to start being able to kind of take something off the plates of the staff who are needing training, and myself in general. And having that LinkedIn learning connection, I think, is going to be great. There was one other thing I was trying to think. I was like, we talked about it yesterday, Tearney, that I really wanted to say. Now I can't remember what it was. I'm a lovely trainer and I forget my train of thought. Oh, the orientation. If you haven't done it yet, I mean, obviously you're probably not a super new employee if you're sitting here, unless this is your first day with Extension. And if it is, welcome. But if you have been with Extension for the last 5, 10, 15 years, I still think I really highly recommend signing up for that and watching the videos in that course. It's really refreshing as an employee to kind of go back and remember like what our roots are and where we're coming from and what our mission is. And I think they did such a wonderful job putting that training together, between Tearney and EDE and the people who've all worked on this, IT. I think they've just done a really good job of getting us this place where I can see new employees feeling really great about themselves after they watch that and being really excited to start work with us. But I really think that even as current employees, it's something that would really feel kind of uplifting and refreshing for you. So if you haven't had a chance to look through that yet, make time to kind of sign up for that and get that on your leaderboard, because it's a really good one.
Absolutely. And thank you, Laura, for sharing. And I'll try to, in a second, go and grab both of those from the, to link them in the chat for y'all so that y'all can enroll in them. And so we encourage that. I'm going to ask next, we have our 4-H county agent from Gillespie County, Emily Grant, who's going to join us. And she's also going to talk about it, of how she plans to use it as an employee and highlight some features for us from her perspective. And so I'm going to turn over to Emily. Thank you also for joining us today and giving us a kind of a voice to how you're going to use it as an agent.
Absolutely. I hope y'all can hear me. Yes. Okay. So I just want to go ahead and I've read in the chat that Laura wants to create a new training to put on Aspire, and I would love her to make a quick 5-minute video of how to make sure my 4-H online volunteer agent profile works perfectly, because it never fails that I don't do that on time. And then I have to search back for emails and I can't ever find the right way. So then I email her and I bother her. And so
That
that's
cracks
how
me up, Emily. That makes me laugh.
I knew it would. But that's how I see us using Aspire as agents is, oh my God, this isn't my specialty, or somebody told me that this is how I have to do something, but I don't really remember. And that would be a great one for Laura to put in, because I do believe I did that like last year, March 30th, trying to register for Roundup. And so my vision as Aspire gets built out is that for those times as agents or extension professionals that we aren't dealing with something that we're comfortable with, that isn't our specialty or something that we're not super familiar with, that Aspire has a training or a short 101 course that allows us as agents to be refamiliarized with that topic that we need to either share with clientele or tells us how to do something within the extension system that we don't do on a daily basis. Like I don't, a lot of people in College Station work on Concur a very lot. As a county agent, I don't. And so when I have to run things through Concur, I need like a quick video cheat sheet, click this button, click, I just go to YouTube right now, when I forget how to do something, and it's almost like a YouTube for extension. And so I see that as a great benefit for us as the platform gets built out. And one thing that I say that about it not being our specialty, and so I'll call all our specialists and all of those who provide resources for agents to think about is, I'll just be the first. I don't like plants. I'm not good with them. I don't have a crop background. I don't have any of that type of background, and I don't do it daily. And so if I have someone or clientele who walks in my office and they want to talk about growing things, and that's not my background, I struggle with that as a county agent. And so my competency there needs to be built. I can talk livestock all day long. but talking about those plants really is a struggle for me. And so I see this as a place where I can go as an agent to get those 101 courses and those refreshers from our specialists and those that are better at it than I, so I can increase my competency in it. So like Tearney's showing right now, we've got some private pest management CEU and applicator training informationals that are up. And so if you didn't grow up in a crop oriented county where you are familiar with CEUs, when I started as an agent, I didn't know anything about CEUs. We didn't do that as a family. We had improved pasture lands when I was born. My dad never had to spray. It wasn't something we had to do. And so I didn't have that background. And so going to Aspire and learning what those CEUs mean and how I do that would be a great tool, or even a refresher for me, because it's not something that I do every day. If I were to transfer back to an ag county, into an ag position, I could go back and refresh myself. The other thing I see as a great utilization for our agents, and also anyone who has a support staff. We had 2 new support staff start last year, and one of them just didn't have the background in Excel that we needed. Well, then we had to go find a training in Excel, or we had to teach her how to use Excel. And that really took away from our days. And so one thing you can do here is, since they now have access, there are a lot of courses like Excel or customer service oriented, how to be customer service oriented. There's a working with people right there. You can see it on the screen. Some of those courses that we can say, hey, this is probably a really good thing that you take, and let me know when you finish it. Obviously, because of the way the alignment is, I may not be able to assign that to my county support staff, but it's at least trainings that I can give to them to help them build their competencies in certain areas as well. With that being said, as an agent or anyone who monitors support staff, remember there's always that place of how did you train your employees for your career advancement? And so then you can utilize that. And hey, I had a AgriLife Aspire blah, blah, blah course, and my employees took it or something. So there's a way to put all of that into one pretty package. And that's how I see Aspire working for county agents or anyone who doesn't, who's seeking to learn more about a certain subject matter that they maybe aren't the strongest in.
Absolutely. And so I kept clicking the wrong thing, but as Emily was saying, if you have maybe somebody who is struggling with Excel, so don't do this like in that passive aggressive way when people ask you questions and you just show them how to Google and you're like, let me show you this beautiful thing, Google. Same thing. If somebody's struggling with Excel, don't just send them a link and be like, here, learn some Excel training. But I would share that if you're trying to offer these things to others that you're in charge of, you can see some of those competency gaps and then be able to link it directly, or if you're a line manager, assign it directly to them, which is really wonderful. So we're going to turn it over to Lori Martin, who's going to actually walk us through a little bit of that from that line manager perspective. And so Lori is a district office manager in District 1. And so she has people that she directly supervises. And so she's really excited to use this sort of role in the work that she does. So I'm going to turn it over to Lori.
Can you hear me, Tearney?
Yep. And I'll stop sharing because I think you want to share it. Yep.
I do. Can you see that?
Oh, yep. Yeah, we got it.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I have just a few slides here, and then we'll actually go out into Aspire and do some work. So the first thing, I'm here to talk about the supervisor perspective. So some of the things that I like, this is free, it's easy to access, and it is not only professional, but it's also personal development for employees. Up till about probably 5 years ago, it was very difficult to find quality training at no cost. And so this is something that is available at no cost. Also, if you see some of those LinkedIn learnings that are not on Aspire, go ahead and ask for those to be moved over. And the reason for that is because then we have all of it in one place. It appears on the same transcript and it's easy to find. As I've looked through the course catalog, I've noticed that the courses are very short, anywhere from 15 to 45 minutes for most of them. So it's something that it doesn't take 2 hours to finish. You can sit down and tackle that in a very short amount of time. They're easy to assign and track the progress. when we have performance appraisals, we have an employee development plan. So instead of telling them, I want you to learn more about whatever that is, you can actually go out and find that course and assign it to them. And you have a way to track whether or not they've completed that training and helping coaching them along toward their goals. The next thing would be encouragement to employees. So I see one of my employees has already gotten herself on the leaderboard. And so some people are motivated to do that. I have a lot of people who love to learn something new every day. So get those training go-getters to get on the leaderboard and get to the top of those charts. It's also good for leadership and personal development. And as ambassadors, we've kind of talked about this too, that sometimes when you develop leaders, you develop them so they can go on somewhere else. But we want the best for our employees. So this shows our employees that we truly care about them, not only professionally, but personally. It's very important to our executive leadership that we are investing in our employees, and not only our AgriLife employees, but our county support staff. And so now that they have access to Aspire, they can get to those LinkedIn learnings where they used to not be able to do that. And then also another thing under encouragement is the ability to grant a skill. And right now, the only one that I'm seeing is the customer experience skill, but there are going to be others added as we go along. And so that's something that you can do, and give a shout out to your employees for completing those trainings. You can also add your own trainings. We can do voiceover, PowerPoints, create those once and use them widely. The district office managers had a meeting this morning and we kind of discussed some of the things we could do. For instance, we have county agents who use Concur to do expense reports very infrequently. So whenever they get in and try and do those, you know, they get stumped and they ask a lot of questions and stuff. So this is something where we could do a very quick instructional video and have it out there for them. They could open it on one screen and work through their Concur expense report on the other, and they're done, and without all the frustration. Another thing we'd like to see is district and regional welcome and training orientations for employees and for county support staff. And then let's see, the next thing. So this is on the administration panel for direct reports. So this follows the terminology of Workday, where your employees are called direct reports. So some of those things that you can do, you can view the learner's transcript in progress. You can do it for a single employee, or you can do it for multiples. You can enroll and unenroll. I'm going to show you how to do a bulk enrollment for all of your employees at one time. You can download certificates. And on assessments approval, assessments are for instructor-led training, and those can be assigned to supervisors or to do the assessments later. You can also import external training records. And so someone had asked, there's something in TrainTrack that they had done previously, if they really want that to be in Aspire, or my staff take classes at Ed2Go, which are 6-week courses that are online, and they get a 24-hour CEU credit. And so if they take that course, I can upload that information directly into Aspire. And then we talked about granting and revoking skills. Some of the ones we have right now, customer experience. And then some of the other ones that we anticipate would be management, project management, marketing, website design, leadership. And so more information. So you have the link to the guide for the line manager already in the chat, and I had put that here as well. And then I'm going to show you how to get to that. So if you want to get to it yourself, you can go to the dashboard and go to the site guide, and there's lots of valuable information on that site guide. And so right now we're going to go out, and there've been several questions about getting into Aspire. So I backed out of it. I just opened my Google Chrome. And so this is what I see whenever I get in every day. And so if you'll look, I've got about 6 or 7 tabs along the top. One of them is SharePoint, because I'm in SharePoint every day. So if you're not already in SharePoint every day, go ahead and log in to Microsoft 365. Be sure when you do, you put first name dot last name at agnet.tamu.edu and then use your password. If you don't use the agnet.tamu.edu, it does not know who you are, and it will tell you that you can't log in. So this is SharePoint, and right now it has defaulted to the extension part of SharePoint. If I were to go in and put in Aspire in the search right now, it would not have a hit because Aspire is at the AgriLife level, which is the root level, the top level of SharePoint. So if I'm going to search, I always click on the Texas A&M AgriLife logo. And then here, it just so happens that Aspire is new and upcoming, so it's one of the top windows. But if I'm just wanting to find Aspire, type Aspire in the search, and it will come up. You click it, and there you are. So this is the main landing page for Aspire. You see over here on the right that I'm following that. That way, when those emails come out with news from SharePoint, if there's anything new on Aspire, I'm going to get that information. So I'm going to go to the line manager. So I go to my training dashboard. And if I scroll down, so you have your leaderboard, that's what it defaults to. I'm going to the line manager dashboard. I have 4 direct reports, and so you can see that some of them have training that's in progress. Some of them have some that are not started, they're not completed, and then there are some that have certificates. And so what you do, if you'll notice, this took me out to a different site. So this is the line manager site. If I want to go back to where I was at, I go back to the LMS 365 here. So what I want to do right now is I want to assign a course to all of my employees. So I did this earlier and I assigned the AgriLife orientation to all of them. They've been here anywhere from 2 years to 22 years, but it's good information for all of them to review. So I assign that to all. So right now I'm going to do a bulk assignment. So I click it so that I get all of them. And then when I click onto one or all, it pops up administration of direct reports. So this is the menu for you to do things. So I'm going to go enroll in courses or training plans. And so here I can search, and I would like them to take a training on SharePoint Essentials. So SharePoint, here's the essential, beyond the basics or the basics. And so I think I'm going to assign the beyond the basics for now. So I click that and I click enroll. And if you notice, all of their names are clicked here. It's going to, in one bulk assignment, assign that to everyone. So if you look here, it says we're enrolling learners in training SharePoint Essentials beyond the basics. So now they are each going to receive an email that says that they have been enrolled in this course, and then they can go to Aspire and take the course. So when they get done, then they can download their certificate, or I can come and download their certificate. So right now I'm going to go out of here, and we're just going to go into Linda, and we're going to look at her progress. So she's on the leaderboard. And so it tells you that she is enrolled in 3 trainings. She has completed 1, and she has 1.5 total CEUs. I can download this to Excel if I would like to do that. And then I'm scrolling down. She's got the AgriLife orientation, which is not started. And it just tells you, so you can filter by not started or completed or whatever filter you want to do. And we're going to go back X out of that. And then we're going to view her transcript. And again, it's going to tell you whether or not they have started it, completed it. And I haven't seen where you can assign the due date. Tearney, do you know about that? Because I haven't came across that yet.
Yeah, and so on some of those, it's course specific, and so the course person is going to be the person who does that. And so, but we'll walk you guys through any of those enrollment as well. So
Thank you.
It's a great question.
Okay, so on the transcript, you see tabs up here for courses, certificates, and so these are planned. That means she hasn't started them. And then these are some other ones that I could view her certificate on. If you go to skills, remember we talked about granting skills. I'm going to get out of here and go down to grant skill. And right now we only have the customer focus. And so those we can do at a general, beginner, intermediate, or advanced level. So if she had taken a lot of customer focused types of trainings, I could go in and grant her a skill based on what she had completed. And we're going to have other ones, as I had mentioned earlier, in the little PowerPoint. You can also import. So if she took an Ed2Go course and I wanted to import that course, I could put the name of the course, and then you would select the type, the category, when she completed it. And like for those, they have 24 CEUs, and then hit next. And I haven't done one yet, but I'm assuming it will just post it, or it may need a source information as far as where it came from. So that is basically the line manager dashboard.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lori. I really appreciate it. And I know I put this in the chat, but Lori, Laura Holt, not Laura Hubinger. I know that I confused her there for a second. And then Emily Grant are some of our AgriLife ambassadors who are wonderful. We have many others, but we really encourage y'all to, we'll send those out to you in our next newsletter highlighting those individuals. But we ask if any of y'all want to join us in that and being that resource in your unit, in your area to serve and answer questions. We hope y'all will do that. The last thing we want to cover, though, before we wrap up is the question that we got a whole bunch. So how do I not just take courses? I'm somebody who wants to add some courses. You know, I know Dr. Chavadia is here, and maybe he wants to just be able to share with people, like, stop giving me all the basic questions on turf grass. Let me allow people to become more of an expert when it comes to turf grass management, right? So the way that we're going to be doing this is that we're going to start with our RPLs. They have given us, because we showed this to them earlier this summer, they've started to create a list of priorities that they want to see on this platform, and being able to offer that to individuals. But you can also be able to reach out to me, to contact me if you have ideas. The reasons that only reasons that we want to have you just at least meet with me is so that we can sort of coordinate. So if we have, you know, there's 4 people who want to do a training on, maybe it's committee development, we can allow them to see, hey, there's actually already this group going together. Let's choose the best content. Or we can help you to really build out what might be an entire learning path that we could do on this that has, you know, for beginners, for intermediate, for advanced, or maybe we can incorporate where you can do actual task assignment that is also incorporated in there. So it's not just the course itself, but maybe other follow-up things that Laura Hubinger might want them to do when it comes to, you know, some 4-H processes that not only just give them the training, but then make, you know, so that they can see that checklist of the tasks that they want to do and they need to do. One of you guys also talked about Concur. I think it was Emily who was talking about it. We're going to try to be bringing those trainings in here too. So as we look forward, we have a lot of really exciting content and ideas that we are hoping to provide for you in this platform. But this is a really great opportunity for you all to also tell us some of the priorities that you want. So I welcome emails, Teams messages, anything that you want to see or that you would love to see this platform. Please reach out to me or to our AgriLife ambassadors who can funnel that message to us so that we can create the content you want. And so we're really excited to get that content adding on there. We have a little bit on there. I see a lot of you guys enrolling in our Welcome to AgriLife Extension and also our AgriLife overview. And so we're really excited about that. I know a lot of our district office managers and DEAs are excited about creating some district and unit orientations to provide those resources. So there's a lot of content that's going to be coming. And so we ask you guys to be patient with us as we start to roll it out slowly over this next year and beyond, and know that we are committed to your learning development. So I appreciate y'all. I'll make sure if there are any other questions I missed in the chat, I'll address that, but I'll stay on for anybody else. But I hope all of y'all have an exceptional rest of your afternoon. Thank you all for joining us. If we could give a round of applause to our guest speakers, Lori Martin, Emily Grant, Laura Holt, and Bailey Teeter for taking their time and really sharing how this platform works for multiple different entities and individuals. And we hope that you see that it can work from you. If you have any questions, reach out to us. We're happy to be a resource. Thank you guys so much for your time. We appreciate y'all.